for whatever reason, it was difficult for me to have that identity. I felt like, oh, art is like something that other people do. I'm just like dabbling over here.
Art is a byproduct of living,
Ooh.
of being a human being. The goldfish can only grow as big as its environment. And so if you take that goldfish and you put it in a larger tank, the goldfish will literally grow. That's why I think working with this population in art has been so inspiring, because self-expression has never been more critical for people with disabilities.
That moment when someone feels included and they feel like they're at home and they can just relax and be themselves no matter what, neurodivergence or physical disability or whatever, like there's so much joy in that.
Put your hand on your heart, look up at the sky, smile and say, hey, I'm alive. Thanks for being alive with me today.
Hey, and happy today, y'all. I am super stoked to share this in-person interview with Rachel Cohen, an individual who is super near and dear to my heart and uber talented and doing incredible good in the world. Rachel is the founder and CEO of Unboredroom, which is a nonprofit organization and space dedicated to connecting people with and without disabilities using art as the bridge. It's fun, it's fantastic, it's whimsical, and it is rooted in evidence-based practices because Rachel is herself a recreational therapist. She is a dear friend of mine who I totally look up to and who you need to know. So I bring her here to you today on the Be Alive podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Rachel, in which she shares how to bring more silliness and creativity to all of our lives, how to relate to people with disabilities, and she shares this amazing story about how she planned a Halloween party that ended up being one of the most beautiful, epic events in Austin and stole the hearts of everyone who attended. Please enjoy this episode featuring Rachel Cohen. Welcome to Be Alive with Kate Manser. I am thrilled to be here today with Rachel Cohen, who is a master's level recreational therapist and the founder and CEO of Unboredroom, the magical, mystical, and wondrous place that we are right now. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you for having me, and welcome to Unboredroom.
What is this magical place? We have art and sparkly things and joy and smiley faces everywhere, games. What's going on here?
Well, this started out as my personal art studio. That's always been a goal of mine. I have my bachelor's in visual and performing arts with a minor in music and an emphasis in theater. And so I've taught art for many years and I've been a creator, but I've always been kind of confined to where I could create and what I could create based off of the resources that I have. What tools do I have? How much space do I have? And so I moved into this artist colony over a year ago for Last East. And it's just been a really wonderful place for all of my creative projects to kind of take off. And I've learned a lot about how space really influences creation, because even for the summer, we were subleasing another artist space and they have like twice as much square footage as we do in here. And the pieces of art that were made were huge.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I painted on a scale that I have never painted on before.
Ooh, that just turns me on.
I don't even have space to store these works because they don't fit in this space. And it makes me think about that story that you hear about the goldfish.
No, tell me.
Okay,
Remind us.
The goldfish can only grow as big as its environment. And so if you take that goldfish and you put it in a larger tank, the goldfish will literally grow.
This is so timely for me to hear. As we were just talking about, I'm thinking about moving out of the RV and expanding into some space. And so you are saying that Goldfish Rachel, has seen yourself and others, it sounds like, grow because you support so many people in this space as well.
That's true. I use the space for a lot of different functionalities, and I'm a recreation therapist by day, aquatic therapist. Basically, I work mostly now primarily with people with disabilities, but I've worked with all types of people, couples, veterans, children, families. And what I do is I identify someone's strengths and their interests. And then I hate to even say this word, but like their deficits or their barriers, like things that are challenges for them, areas of their life that they want to work on or improve. And I basically assess and prescribe them their own leisure interests.
Oh my God.
And we use their interests for good.
Wow.
And for positive health outcomes and for more satisfying life and self-expression and just improved health and functionality across the board.
You prescribe play. That's insane. So let's go back. So your bachelor's was in visual arts.
Yeah,
with
visual and
theater
performing
and
arts.
performing. Okay. And then you went on to get your master's in
Therapeutic
recreational
recreation.
therapy, and you help people play. You help people move through. Is there like a psychology element in here where you're
100%.
Yeah.
So this is a very real field that was developed by the VA, actually, after
By
World
the
War II.
VA.
Yes. So we know that the military doesn't waste time, resources, money on anything that is not necessary. And so, yeah, like when I discovered recreation therapy was a thing, I was like, oh my gosh, like thank God, because I knew intuitively all along that I found so much healing and solace through my identity as an artist and through the things that I engaged in, and that there's more to life than work and the growth that you can bring to next quarter. And that we, I don't know, trivialize and make it childish to play a game or to engage with your peers for anything other than like climbing the ladder. But that's just not the case. Like, just from being alive, we know that we have to do the things that we love for optimal health and functionality. So once I discovered that this was a thing, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. But I guess we got to like take, it's like a whole timeline here. I didn't just like fall into it, because when we first knew each other, we first connected on education.
Yeah.
Because I was teaching at the time, and I was teaching full time, teaching art.
What level were you teaching?
I was teaching
little kids?
I was teaching adults
Adults.
at a nonprofit. 5
Oh,
days
I
a week.
remember now. Yeah, yeah. It was a local Austin nonprofit dedicated to art, and you were helping people.
We served 150 people with intellectual and developmental disabilities every week. So Monday was digital media with like making short films and stop motion and photography. And then Tuesdays was performance art. That was like my big day. We did like theater and singing and yoga. And then Wednesday through Friday was all visual art. So that was like jewelry making, sculpture, painting, like everything, anything that you could want to make or think of. And that was kind of my job as an instructor, was to get to know someone and identify what their strengths and talents were, and then pair them with a medium that they would excel at.
What a dream. What a dream for someone to be able to, I mean, for you, but also for people to be able to be seen through your eyes. You're literally someone who comes and helps people identify what their strengths are. I mean, I can only imagine how in your many-year career, how many people you've helped discover passions that they had never known before. That is life-changing. That's absolutely wild.
It's a feeling that I've just gotten really hooked on, because it's not just like the impact that you see in that moment. It's the impact that you see on their life and all of how their world just opens up. And then you see the response from the family too, because sometimes people would be like, why are you having this person do this thing? And it's like, well, why do we do anything? They're like, well, this person shouldn't be in this play because everyone's just going to laugh at them. And I'm like, let's ask this person, how do you feel when you're on stage performing? Oh, you enjoy it? You'd like to do it? Okay, let's keep doing it then.
Yeah.
And there's like this recognition that comes from the families who have spent their whole lives trying to protect their own family from exploitation or humiliation or being the butt of a joke, because historically that's what we see for people with disabilities. It's like a lot of either exploitation, like, hey, you're the court jester and you're going to entertain us, or you are going to be institutionalized and you're not going to be heard from at all. And so that's why I think working with this population in art has been so inspiring, because self-expression has never been more critical.
Why? Why do you say that?
For people with disabilities. I say that because a lot of people with disabilities don't experience employment the same way that we do. And especially here in this country, we think about who we are. People ask us, oh, what do you do at a dinner party? And it's like, that answer doesn't even help me tell you, like as a person who works, I guess, semi-traditionally. But when you don't have a typical 9 to 5, like you need to have things that you do recreationally or your hobbies or your interests that help you connect to other people and help you develop a sense of identity. And so I think especially as the economy is the way that it is, and we see more and more smart, educated, wonderful people, talented people who aren't being utilized to their fullest capacity, that the world doesn't see how to insert them to get the most out of them. It's almost like waste is one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't like it. I don't like seeing people trashing water bottles or, trashing food, but I really hate the waste of human potential. And I just see it all the time now. I see the waste of people's kindness and generosity. I see, waste of just talent and intellect and empathy. And I don't know how we got here, but this is my goal now, is to try to elevate that and recognize the value in that for people.
I just need to take a moment with that, because that is such a profound idea, which is just looking around and waste sort of has a negative connotation, but you're saying I need to identify the waste because I'm seeing the potential, and then you help people get there through art, through activity, through connection, which is another thing that you foster. And what an interesting idea. I mean, I think a lot of us it's so cliche to be like, oh, what do you do for work? And even when we do have something that we do for work, we don't like answering that question. Nobody wants to be reduced I'll tell you, when I used to work at Google, I used to wait for people to ask me, because all of my self-worth at that time was wrapped up in this like cool job. And I would always be like waiting for the moment that'd be like, what do you do for work? So I could be like, oh, I've worked at this small company you've never heard of. I even had like this prepared joke. You've probably never heard of Google. It's such a tiny startup. Ha ha ha, pause for laughter. And one of the reasons that I had to leave Google eventually was I realized that my self-worth was wrapped up in this job that was such BS. Like it was so hollow. And then I had to began this quest that I'm still on, figuring out like, where does my true self-worth come from?
It's not your fault. Can I just tell you, it's not your fault? Like, that's so hard to hear. And it's so not your fault, because we have to work to survive, and we've got to do what we've got to do. And it's like almost like, my God, I can't think of the term when you relate with your captor.
Syndrome, Stockholm syndrome.
Yes. Where you're like, oh yeah, I am Google.
Yeah. I had drunk
Google,
the Kool-Aid.
and I'm better than everybody because you recognize where I work, and you know that I can afford my whatever. And it's like, can't we just like make a space and just talk about what our favorite color is?
Yes, exactly. And this is just like being in this space. It's so bright and so lively. And it's interesting, like the juxtaposition of me having to leave Google and going on this like path of self-discovery. And in that, it didn't happen overnight. It actually took years of me finally coming to the ability to say I'm an artist. Like that was such a hard thing. And I don't know if you encounter that in your work with people who say, oh, I draw or I make things, but they just have this block like I did to saying like, for whatever reason, it was difficult for me to have that identity. I felt like, oh, art is like something that other people do. I'm just like dabbling over here.
Art is a byproduct of living.
Ooh.
Of being a human being. Like we start so young, we're like building sandcastles and destroying them and making them into ships and then sailing them off somewhere else. I get it. When you commodify everything and you feel like, this is so cultural though, because in India, if you play music for work, you're deemed lower class. If you play music as a hobby, you must be rich.
Really?
In the United States, it's the opposite. If you do music as a hobby, you must be trash. But if you make music and you make money off of it, then you're famous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to pull back these things that are human nature, that are ours, that have always been ours. The identity of being a creative person or being an artist. It's not for anyone to give to you. And that's one of the great things about art in general, is that when you approach a kid and you see them drawing, you don't say, oh, wow, you're going to be an artist someday. You say, oh, you're an artist. It's something that we're so generous with that label.
for others and for young people, but for ourselves. Yeah. And going back to this idea of the passions that you're helping people to discover, how do you see people change when they create something or
Mm.
when they are able to engage with a medium that like lights something in them?
It's different with every person, but it's data driven, so it's kind of the same at the
Data
same time.
driven. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, I'm a therapist. Like, this is all evidence based. This is science. You know, when you bring someone in and you give them a satisfying creative experience or a satisfying social experience, the outcomes are positive, immediate, and measurable.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially when you work with someone over time, you see a lot of change, you see a lot of things happen, but it's always good. It's really a matter of like what someone's interested in, because I can't force someone to be interested in art. Maybe sports are more their thing. But if somebody, there's a lot of people who don't know what they're interested in at all.
Yeah.
Like, they're interested in happy hour and Netflix, and that's like it for them. And so discovering that like cooking could be a creative outlet, or discovering that, you know, being out in nature can also be a social thing. Let me just tell you a little bit about how myself and how recreation therapists view a complete person.
Ooh, yes, please.
So we have 5 domains that make up a complete person. So our cognition,
Mm-hmm.
our physical function,
Mm-hmm.
our social and emotional health,
Okay.
our spirituality. Oh, did I get everything?
So cognition, physical,
Social, emotional,
social,
spiritual.
emotional, spiritual.
That's it.
And that's
Mhm.
the whole person.
So that's what I'm saying when I look at someone and I kind of try to figure out where their deficits are. Because let's say you're a really great athlete, but you're so wrapped up in your sports career that you never make time for friends. And then you also have this spiritual deficit where you're just not quite sure where you fit on the planet, why we're here. And so I'd be like, hey, well, have you ever tried doing team sports with friends outdoors? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And hit all the domains, or as many as you can, with someone's own personal interests.
Yeah. And then you get to see the effect when they do it, right? And you, as you said, from a data-driven perspective, you're measuring that.
That's my job.
Wow.
Right. So most of the people that I work with now, like, I'm literally billing Medicaid and making these goals and objectives and plans that are centered around their recreation and leisure interests, and trying to improve their physical health and their social skills, or their interconnectedness with the community. But it's individualized, it's person-centered.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who, I was just talking with a friend, I think yesterday, and she was saying, "Oh, I feel like my melancholy is a result of this like untapped creativity where she struggled." And so what would you say to someone who is spending their time, who has a 9 to 5 maybe, or who has a demanding job of some kind, and who finds themselves, my biggest drug is disassociating. You know, I quit drinking 5 years ago, and now I can tell you that I wasn't addicted just to alcohol. I was addicted to disassociation. So someone who's disassociating on Netflix every night and has a demanding job in the day, but just feels like there's something missing from life, what would you say to help them discover something, whether it be art or sports? You know, what do you do to discover what that passion is?
That's like a multifaceted question,
Mhm.
because it's like we all have so much to express. Self-expression is so key to feeling seen and valid and living honestly, right? Which is nearly impossible in our society. Oh, you said the wrong thing. You're not getting invited to the dinner party again. Or, oh, you didn't stop all the way, get a ticket. Okay, I guess we need that. But you get what I'm saying? It's like we're always wondering, how much can I self-express? How authentic can I really be before I am an outcast, before I get rejected, before people are like, nope. And so that's where art can be this really wonderful, safe space to connect with your medium and create whatever you want and put it all out there. And you don't have to show it to anybody. You could just show it to yourself. Like, when I first got in this space, I was like, girl, you've waited all these years. You finally got your studio. What you going to do with it? And I would like come in here at 11 o'clock at night, and I started working on these actually, because it was, Rachel, you just need to make a mark. You just need to start making marks. I didn't know what I had inside. I knew that I was an artist. I knew I was a creative person. I've worked in many different mediums. You've seen me do it throughout the years. But when I got in here, I was like, you know what? We're going to just start making marks and see what happens.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, would you like to join our podcast? What's your name?
Hi.
Are we being too loud?
No.
This is Deanna. She's
Hi,
the owner of Art for the
Deanna.
People Gallery.
I'm
Hey.
Kate Manser.
Kate.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you. I am so
you.
sorry, you guys.
No problem.
No, this is so great.
It's great.
Deanna's in here. Yeah.
There's a bag.
All right. Let's talk later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
I'll
you,
give a call.
Deanna.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. And that's why this space is so awesome, because you just never know.
Mhm.
And that's the thing is like, okay, you can do it alone, like I just said, and come in here at 11 o'clock at night and make some marks. But there's something about creating collaboratively with other people too,
Mhm.
right? Because I don't know what it is about, like, maybe it takes us back to being in art class when we were in elementary school and you're like, okay, I'm not the worst at math, or I'm not the worst at art. I guess I can keep exploring and playing. And I don't know why we measure ourselves against each other like that, but there's something about, and not just in a negative way, like seeing somebody really freaking kill it creatively and inspire you, and you're like, oh man, I want to use the brush backwards.
Yes.
You never
raising
thought
it
about it
up.
that way. And it's like, in art in the US, we are so individualized. Not even in art. Like, I could tell you about in Korea and self-care and spa culture and 1,000 different things that are so individualized in the United States. And it's like, we really have to just like restore our community and our connection, because we're wasting the inspiration. We're wasting the potential to connect. We're wasting the positive chemicals that come out of our brains when we get on this wavelength together. And because we're so isolated. You go to work, you come home, you disassociate until you got to go do it all over again. And you make just enough money to go disassociate a little bit more expensively. But like, to be present and just have a real conversation with someone is rare these days. It's like, you got to go to happy hour to get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, why don't we just create more spaces where we're making inclusion the bar, where it's like, you know, that you can come and show up and take this class or participate in this event, and that literally everyone there has been trained to not give you any crap.
Yeah, no barrier to entry other than desire to show up.
Before prom, I trained all the staff and volunteers. I said, everybody gather around. We're going to talk about every single different, I mean, you can't talk about every disability that, you know, we're not going to be like, okay, if someone comes through the door with a limb difference, this is what you do. Because some things it's like, you don't need to say. But I just said, at the end of it all, I said, there's going to be people who come in here and enjoy this party in ways that you don't understand. They're going to be pacing around, or they're going to be talking to themselves, or they're going to be not engaging with the activity the way that you would, but they're just going to hang around it. And that's fine.
Let them.
Just let them do it their way, you know, and don't, because every art activity in school was like, okay, now we all paint the exact same thing, and now we all do the exact same thing, and what's the best one? And they're the American Idol of the world. And there's just so much space when you eliminate competition and you promote collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and for those listening, Rachel did this amazing event. You're going to be able to tell about it far better than I will. But Rachel planned a prom. This was just recently, right? It was a huge event that you had here.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Okay. So back in the timeline, we move into the studio, and I have a client who we work on therapeutic DJing. Think about it.
Oh my God.
I
I always knew that I love you. And every time I see Rachel, I just like hear this new term or this new idea or this other cool thing that you're up to. And now we're on the level of adult prom, therapeutic DJing.
So
what is this?
This individual, we have used their interest in music to do a lot of different growth-based and self-expression-based activities. And so, for instance, we designed their logo, and then we printed stickers, and then they got the logo on a hat, and now it's on their backpack, and they're playing other shows and building a network. So they're getting like social things out of it too. And it's just been fantastic. So anyways, we moved in here and I was like, we should have you DJ an event. Like, what do you want to do? And I was thinking about it. Second Saturday, no, that's too small. Let's do something bigger. And so I'm just talking about things with people. That's how this all started, was just like, they say don't let all your dopamine go, like talking about your dreams and stuff, but you have to talk about things so that people know to take you seriously and that they know that you're going to do
That
it.
you're crazy enough to make it happen.
Yes. So I'm in here talking my crazy talk about, hey, we have this coming up and we've got this coming up. And there's like, I think it was one night when the art bus came through. And so there were just like tons of people through the studio. And you never know who's going to like show up in your space or who you're talking to. So I've just gotten really elevator pitchy and I'm like, hey, welcome to space, blah, 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 this and that. This is what we're working on. And I was talking about the prom. And they were like, oh, I'd help with that. I work for C3. And I was like, for real? You'll help me? And they're like, yes. And so I had this amazing event coordinator who helped me take this idea that was just going to be like, hey, we're just going to have a little party and my client's going to DJ it, to what happened, which was we rented out Wanderlust Wine Co. Shady Lane, which is like a huge venue, like 1, 2, 3, at least 4 rooms, huge grand hall. And we hosted, it was a silent disco showcase of DJs with and without disabilities. So we had 6 different DJs with and without disabilities that we, hired
Your
from the
lineup,
community.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone got paid.
In this huge venue.
Okay,
and it's prom, so everyone comes out
prom
to the
themed
nine.
because you got to dress up. You got to have an excuse to dress up. But then also we didn't want the clothing to be a barrier. So we gave away prom clothes to all of our attendees in partnership with Heartening Austin. That was like my favorite event. I got my prom dress that night. Okay, so prom, silent disco showcase of DJs with and without disabilities. We had interactive art stations everywhere. So we had an interactive mural. We had live fashion portraits being drawn of our guests and participants by Vogue vignettes.
In their amazing get-ups. Yeah.
We had photo booth. Duh. We had DIY corsage and boutonniere station. We had a Tesla parked in the venue to draw on a Tesla. When I list it all out like this, sometimes I'm like,
wait,
it
they
feels
were
like a different person.
live decorating a Tesla.
Yeah. We had a Tesla wrapped in white vinyl. Everyone drew on it in Crayola markers. We had a sensory sensitive room for people on the autism spectrum that was all decked out with like cool lights and fuzzy things. And it was really fantastic. We had a silent art auction with over 50 pieces that were donated from the community. The silent art auction, every single piece had a visual description transcribed into Braille.
No.
We had Braille signage for everywhere in the building, and we had certified ASL interpreters for the entire event.
You're going to make me cry.
And Spanish
This is
language
so
interpreters.
Beautiful.
So it was just like, it was one of those things where I was like, I've never worked so hard, so fast. We did it really quickly because I just wanted to do it, and we got this grant and it needed to be done by a certain time. But when I think about like what it was so cool because every single person who walked in got it. They understood Unboredroom without me having to pitch or say anything. And it was just like, it was unifying.
It was unified. That's like when you were describing that, I was just thinking people arriving there and you've thought of all of these details. And my first thought was like, people just arrive and they feel like they're home. They feel like they're welcome, that no one's turned away. There's this element of unity, of inclusivity. And this is memories, right? Like this is something that they're going to remember probably for the rest of their lives.
It was definitely one of the best nights of my life, I'll tell you that. And I knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be. It was. And then here's a story for you. So someone on the spectrum who I've known for a long time, people on the spectrum, they're not really like big party people. It's like a nightmare to them. Creating like an event, a party, and then saying like, hey, we're going to have this specific space that is like tailored for you to go take a break if you need that. So anyways, this guest comes up to me and they said that they were leaving. And I was like, oh, really? Like, have you tried the sensory sensitive room? And they're like, yeah, I went in there. To be honest, like some of the lights were kind of distracting. And I was in the middle of running this like 150 person event. And I just said, hey, let's go over there right now. Because like if the room's not working for this guest, it's not serving its function. And it's not an ego thing. I didn't make that room to be like, look at how great I am for people on the spectrum. I literally wanted to make a space so that people could stay longer.
Yeah.
And so we went over to the room and I said, show me which ones you don't like. And they pointed to the lights that were bothering them, and I unplugged them, and they immediately sat down and put their arms behind their head, and they took this like really nice inhale, exhale. And I said, how is it? And they're like, oh, much better.
Oh,
And I said, thank you so much for consulting on this.
yeah.
Let me know if you need anything else. And they stayed. And it was like, because that's the thing. It's like, it's not for me to just be like, look at how much I know about disability. Look at how much I know about art. It's like, what inspires other people about what we're doing here is my ability to connect people and to make people feel included and to make them feel empowered and like leaders in the community.
And you meet them where they are.
It's just not, it's about all of us. It's because I can't do this on my own. I literally couldn't. And so when people see the community come together to create something bigger than themselves, they're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the blob that just keeps taking people over in this positive way.
And you know what really strikes me as you talk about this, that I hope people get from this is, I think we're sort of like, if you zoom out on like American/Western culture, we're in this sort of like awakening where people are really realizing like we need to accommodate for all different types of people. We can't just appeal to the lowest common denominator and everybody else can just figure it out. And it's not just ADA, right? Like there's so many other things. And so as you tell this story about meeting this person where they were and enhancing their experience, what I want, or what strikes me is this idea of like, I think sometimes people think like, oh, what a pain to do Braille. What a pain to accommodate people with autism. What a pain to accommodate people in wheelchairs, right? Where it's like, oh, it's this extra work is maybe how it's perceived. But the way that you tell it is like that moment when someone feels included and they feel like they're at home and they can just relax and be themselves no matter what, you know, neurodivergence or physical disability or whatever. Like there's so much joy in that. So it's not a pain to accommodate these people. Yes, it takes a little bit of work, but it ends up being a pleasure.
Yeah.
And it is a game changer for us and for them. And so I just want to thank you for that and just encourage myself and anyone listening that when we're doing events, and yes, there are some extra steps to making it inclusive for more people, but what a pleasure and a joy to be able to provide that experience for people who are often used to maybe being left, you know, in the dust.
Well, how, like, you didn't make it to prom, but walking into a space like that, seeing an ASL interpreter, seeing all the Braille signage, seeing the sensory sensitive room, like as a perceived non-disabled neurotypical person, how would you feel coming into that environment?
I would just feel thrilled. I would just feel, wow, they have put so much time and effort and love into this event.
I just know that personally, like what I want to share is a feeling like whatever I need, I will have. There's this cycle of exclusion that happens with people with disabilities where people get the guts and the energy and the spoons and they get out and they get out in the world and then they are met with a barrier, like a physical obstacle, can't get through the door. And then they go home or they complain and nothing happens. But basically people stop going out. They stop seeing the barriers. They stop complaining. And then nothing happens. Nothing like changes for the better for these accommodations. And whether you have a disability today or tomorrow, I mean, you know, Miss, I might die tomorrow. Like you might die tomorrow, but there's probably an even greater chance of you getting a disability tomorrow, you know, like, and what an honor to live so long, to have an aging related disability, you know, to be on the receiving end of support after you've provided it for so long, you know. If we start working on these accommodations now, before they're critical for us, before it's self-advocacy, I mean, it's all self-advocacy because it's humanism.
Yeah, and what would you say to someone who's just feeling really inspired right now to want to connect with more people who are different on any different level? You know, what would be a way that we can connect with someone that we see maybe is on the spectrum? You know, what, like, I think a lot of us know someone, but maybe we haven't been trained of, you know, what's the best way to approach somebody, you know, what kind of attitude, how can we make them feel included?
I think, I mean, it's just such a range, so it's hard to like talk generally
Yeah.
about things like that. But connecting with people where they are, finding your common interests and the things that you can relate to on a human level, instead of asking questions and then being frustrated with their communication skills that they can't like give you this type of answer, just sit next to somebody and start making with them and just interact or comment or laugh or, you know, I think we also get really, really nervous to hurt other people. There's so much segregation when it comes to people with and without disabilities. And I know growing up in school, we had like full-on special ed courses, and I train teachers for the school district, and they talk about the different classrooms. And of course, they're trying to like get into 2025, but it's, oh my God, where was I going?
Oh, we were just talking about, you know, how people with disabilities are quite segregated, and so then we don't know how to act. We overthink it. It kind of sounds like your advice
Yes.
is like, don't overthink it. Just talk to people.
Yes.
And then you're talking about, you know, the segregation that
Right.
currently
But
is
it's a fear of hurting other people.
a fear of hurting other
It's
people.
fear of hurting someone physically. It's a fear of hurting someone's feelings by saying the wrong thing. And so sometimes we just got to go out there and get hurt a little bit, right?
And be willing to risk
and say
that.
the wrong thing, and then to realize that the world isn't over, you know, and to have a conversation with someone after you said, hey, see you later, and they're visually impaired, right? It's like, and then you're like, they tell you, hey, that's really not a big deal. I tell people see you later all the time. And then you don't get so freaked out and like tongue-tied when you see someone who's different than you, because we talk in scripts to each other constantly. How were your holidays? They were great. How were yours? You know, like, which is painful in its own way.
Yes.
But I think just, yeah, connecting people out with people outside of the script, trying to connect on like a human level of like, see and laugh and just like enjoy life together. I love going out with my clients and just like people watching and seeing how they enjoy the world and how I enjoy it. Like, it's just better together.
It's better together. Yeah. Well, I'm learning so much right now in just talking about this, right? Like, don't overthink it. That's amazing advice. Just go and talk to people, treat them like a human, right? We all want to be just seen. We want to be
Sure.
spoken to.
And at the same time, like, we can do research too. Like, we live in an information age, so we can follow disabled influencers who will educate us on what language they prefer us to use.
Cool. We can educate ourselves and
Yeah.
connect with people there. Yeah.
And it's amazing because you learn so much about, it's not like inspiration porn. We're not trying to like go out and share videos of, oh, look at how inspiring they are and, you know, this and that. But it's just like, oh, wow, I can't believe that this person won a bunch of gold medals and they just so happen to have Down syndrome. Oh, I know someone at the gym who has Down syndrome. I wonder if they've heard about this person, you know, like we should have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Very cool. So, you know, going back to play, right? And sort of connecting these two topics. You said so beautifully that play is part of the human condition. And I almost started crying when you said that. Like, play is a byproduct of being alive, actually, is what you said. Like, I want to get that tattooed on my body. But I do, you know, obviously this is the Be Alive podcast. Yes. I love talking about being and feeling alive. And I've asked over the years thousands of people, what makes you feel alive? And creative activity is tied, I would say, for first with being in nature as the two things that I hear over and over and over. It's like, oh, what makes you feel alive? And I usually ask people, what is it that when you do it, you forget about time, your problems rise from your shoulders, right? And I know you're really passionate about flow and inducing flow.
I was just going to say, I'm like...
Yeah, so being in nature is a huge one. But play is a big one. People say, oh, playing guitar, painting, drawing.
Here's my advice as a recreation therapist for flow state.
Let's hear it.
Flow state is when the challenge is enough to keep it interesting, but not so high that it becomes frustrating.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Because like, if you play piano and you're like a savant or like really experienced and someone says, play Twinkle Twinkle, you're like, boring, twinkle, twinkle. But if somebody laid some sheet music in front of you that was just like, what in the Sondheim is this? It would be really frustrating. But it's when you find where your skill level meets your challenge level. It has to be just challenging enough for it to not be boring.
And then it would be assumed that it would be on a trajectory, right? Because if you continually do it, you just sort of ratchet up the challenge a little bit over time to maintain that level of engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
that can
mastery
apply
comes.
for anything.
Yes.
Painting, guitar, cooking,
jogging,
cutting your bushes to look like little animals or whatever, jogging,
gingerbread house making. I'm going to take it up another level next year, I think.
Ooh.
Because I was definitely flowing. I'm like, okay, candy cane, hot tubs, here we go. Because I can't just do anything basic anymore. It's not interesting, right? Like you make art all day. You're like, I'm not going to just make a gingerbread house.
Christmas 2025, join Rachel for gingerbread hot tub making and
We're
beyond.
literally going to do it. We have a whole plan. I want to make a whole village. We're going to get artists to make specific landmarks in Austin. And then hopefully we can get some type of, I don't know, partnership with maybe like a children's hospital or like a donor who wants to buy it and put it somewhere on display. But I've got like 1,001 ideas. I'm like the little robot on Mars who kept getting sent tasks. Have you heard about this?
No,
I saw
keep
it on.
going.
I'm
loving every word.
Okay, so the little robot on Mars, overwhelmed robot because he keeps getting sent tasks. And that's basically what has happened to Rachel since Unboredroom started. Everyone's like, yeah, we love it. We want more. And I'm just like, cool, I want more too. But I also have a day job and people are like, and also this, and I want this, and I want this. And I'm like, those are all awesome. And they hit what we're looking for as far as our mission and this and that. But it's like, you have to just kind of choose and go forward. The little rover on Mars, they ended up having to kill all of his tasks and give a very specific order or assign random tasks because you just end up going from starting one task, not completing it, and starting another.
Oh my God, this is the story of my life, everyone. I'm the one digging 37 shallow holes instead of the one like deep hole that's actually going to get me somewhere. Yeah, and then there's the paralysis factor. So you're just saying you just pick something and you go with it.
Eventually. And also I just have like wild blind confidence that I can do things really quickly at this point, like because the community just keeps stepping up. So I'm like, it's so awesome to do a Friendsgiving. I wonder if we could get like $1,000 worth of food donated. And I just drive over to the shop and I ask the manager and they say yes. Because what I'm discovering is people have like quotas for giving. They have to be, these companies want to support and they're looking for causes. And you would think, oh my God, aren't there like enough causes and enough things? Like, especially when you're getting hit with like donate here, this is an important cause and you're not like quite sure. But there is so much space in this world for people to create like passion projects and philanthropic opportunities. And all of these donors and all of these businesses and all of these individuals are like waiting for it. The amount of people that reached out to me and they're like, thank you for creating Unboredroom. I'm like, what? Creating an Instagram? Creating a studio? Like, and they're like, no, like creating, like perpetuating this idea. People want volunteer opportunities and they don't even know where to find them.
Yeah.
And I think when I first started Unboredroom, there was like this wave of fear of like, oh my God, everyone is so selfish and self-centered. Like, I'm never going to be able to do anything. And how am I going to help anybody? I can't do this by myself. But then you like push through the people who are self-centered and you find this whole other community and culture of people who have just been waiting idle for an opportunity because maybe they're not a disruptor. Maybe they're not a leader. And that's freaking fine. Not everybody has to start a nonprofit. Not everybody has to like do that. But everybody who shows up and works the bar or, you know, does our sensory sensitive hair glam stations also at prom. I can't even like list all the things. It was so much. But each one of those individuals, like people who showed up to the event, identified, oh, they probably need help with this. And they just jumped in and started doing it. There's so much that has to be like explained to people and delegated, of course, because it's just in my mind. But once I build these pieces of art and people walk in, they recognize what it is right away and they know their place. They lock into their place like it was built for them because it was.
Yeah.
Because it was.
So you're tapping into this echelon of people who They were just waiting for an opportunity to help, for an opportunity to give back and to do something cool. And you starting this has helped give that to them.
When you volunteer, you're coming in this kind of like leadership capacity, and this hierarchy and roles thing, it's not that we don't have them, it's just they're not like super relevant to us, you know? And so it's really wonderful for everyone to contribute what they have to contribute. And it's not like, oh, this person's in charge. It's like, oh, this person just so happens to have this skill or they're available.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting here in awe of you because I forget the name of it, but there's a concept in the Japanese culture where, you kind of do like one big thing every year, right?
Sure.
And you want to have at least one like cool accomplishment or thing that you're proud of or trip or moment that you feel like was a sort of a peak moment of the year. And so in November of 2023 is when you opened Unboredroom. So check. That's a huge thing for 2023.
Yeah, that's when we moved in.
And then this past year you had this incredible, I mean, I'm sure there's so many other amazing things that you did, but it really sounds like this prom was just this huge highlight of so many people coming together, creating this magical experience, and you showing yourself what you can do and what you're capable of, as well as all of these other people.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think something that I would love to instill in other people in this journey is that I always knew I was going to do this.
You did?
I did. I always knew I was going to do something. As a kid, everybody was like, oh, I'm like, hey, let's make this, or let's go pretend to be this, or dress up like this. And I just like was always making stuff, like people who know me, they're like, yeah, you say you're going to put out an album and you do it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that kind of stuff. And so I knew that eventually, I didn't know it was going to take me till 35 years and several degrees to like achieve this level. But like, I knew that eventually I was going to do something that was going to surprise people, because I had a lot of failures. So many.
Yes, let's celebrate the failures.
So many failures. Opportunities that I thought were going to be huge. And I was like, people, I just need you to believe in me in this moment. And then they didn't. And then when things wouldn't work out, they'd come back and they'd say, well, Rachel, you really need to focus, or you really need to like narrow down, or you need to have better plans. And I'm just like, you know what I need? No haters. I just need support, because yeah, it didn't happen today, but this is just one step closer to the thing that's about to blow your mind.
Yeah.
And so after prom, I could see it in people's eyes at prom, because the morning of prom, people were like leaving stuff on my doorstep or texting me like, hey, do I need to pick anything up? Like I was hosting a dinner party. We have like a car parked in the venue,
150 people, all these experiences.
Exactly. And so like people came in and I could see it on their face that they just like, they never expected it
to be that level of like badassery.
And then the recognition of like, you did that. What else can you do? And like, I just want everyone to know that that moment may not come tomorrow for you. But if you keep persevering and you keep pressing towards your goals, and you don't let the haters, like the literal haters, or like, it's not even that it's just hater and talk, but like they may be trying to protect you. They may be afraid of that outcome for themselves. Like there's so many different projections and levels of like why someone might yuck your yum. But I just encourage you to keep moving forward. And like one of the pieces of like language that stuck in my brain that made me file 501c3 status was there was like this whole trend online, if boys can do it. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay. So it's not that it's a gender thing, but it made me think like, if other people can do these things, it's not like I'm going around all day and feeling inadequate intellectually or energetically or anything, really. And so like, if I'm at least equal to most people, then there's no reason why this is insurmountable for me.
Yes. Like that thing I heard once about how men will apply to jobs when they have roughly 65% of the qualifications, whereas women feel we don't really apply to jobs unless we have like 95% of the qualifications.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? if boys can do it, for example, or if I perceive myself as a normal person, but that normal person over there is hosting this like really cool prom
There's
that,
no reason you cannot do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You just have to make the time and put your mind to it and gather your people and fail a lot
yeah,
and get educated like over time, because yeah, realistically, I could have graduated from school and like wrote a book, but like I went out and I started working and doing more and more and more. And it doesn't make me, I know you've written a book, so this isn't about you, but it doesn't make me less qualified than somebody who's written a bunch of books because at any point I could go write those books.
Well, and anything can be a book, and a really cool event can be a book. Opening a space can be a book.
And the books will come. We will have books.
Yeah,
we gotta document some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's legacy, right? You gotta that's what this is too, is I'm like, oh my God, anything could happen at any time. My dad died at 60.
Mm-hmm.
I think about legacy a lot. And like just everything that I've discovered and everything that's going on in here, I just want to like express it and extend it to live beyond me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, creating that lifelong legacy and you already are. I mean, when we can create an experience for other people, like the experiences that you create in your job every day and like the experiences that you create in prom, I just believe so profoundly in the reality of the ripple effect, right? You doing that and showing people like, oh, Rachel, a quote unquote ordinary person, can do this really amazing thing. I think you're like
but it's like
extraordinary.
But flesh and blood.
Yeah.
It's important for people to know. Because on the internet, it seems like
we're all like,
mystical.
Fantasy, mystical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would love to hear your perspective on, you have all these ideas and now you have more people bringing you ideas because they see what you're capable of. Talk to me about like how you choose. For me, it's sort of like, it sounds so cheesy to say, but it really is just following the excitement and my bliss. Do you feel like that is one of your guiding forces and lights in terms of like choosing what direction to go in and not getting stuck in analysis paralysis about what to do next?
It has to be, because you won't have the energy or the stamina. Because like when you start a big project like this, which is like a minimum 10-year project, right? It's like you have to have, and that's what people don't think about too, is they're like, I'm going to do a thing and it's going to be done tomorrow. And I love telling people like, you are very brave and courageous and ambitious to think that, wow, I can't wait to see you accomplish that in a year. But if you don't, imagine what you can get done in 10.
Yeah.
Because, we're all going to keep doing the stuff that we're going to be doing. So formalize it.
Which for me is really exciting because 2025 is the 10 years since I started You Might Die Tomorrow. And it's so cool to hear you say that you're seeing like this is a 10 plus year journey that you're on. You're like, I'm in it because you're in your purpose. And I feel like you're in your purpose, right? Like you said that. You're like, this is just like the wildest. You always knew that you were going to do something, and now you're doing this thing that you feel like is one of your somethings.
Yeah, it may not be the thing, because that's the thing about hitting your goals is then you like start to dream even bigger, right? You're like, whoa, I wonder what I can do. And that's another, bringing it back to what you said about like with prom even, like there's a lot of organizations that reached out and they're like, we love what you're doing and we're raising money, and how can we like take our resources and fuel what you're doing? And it's like, it's so wonderful to know that people were waiting all along for it and that there's like all this support and encouragement. So as far as like choosing what you do first or next, it has to be passion driven. And I'd say choose one thing that you want to actualize really well. That was prom.
Mm-hmm.
Was like, okay, if we can do this proof of concept, everyone who walks in will understand. I won't have to elevator pitch anymore.
Yeah.
We sold, And then once you kind of like get that proof of concept, that's when you really start getting flooded with lots more opportunity, right? So then you have to think about like what your bigger goals are, and you have to rank like your prioritization by criteria. So you have to like sit down and do the work of like, this, it sucks. This is the worst part. I hate priorities. My brain loves to just bop from one thing to the next. And when you are running a huge thing, you have to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my mentors has been talking to me about like how you rank your criteria and what value you give it based off of that criteria and then prioritizing in that way. But at the end of the day, what Unboredroom becomes is going to become my life.
Yeah.
And so if I don't want it to be part of my life, it can't be part of Unboredroom. Luckily, my heart is very in line with the mission. But yeah, like I've never had to be in two places at once my whole life. And now like every day I am like, I'm feeling very pulled in many directions. And so what's that going to take is just like a lot of work on my end, leveling up this project to a tipping point where I can reduce my caseload a little bit or transition my caseload to make more space for this or that, you know? But at the end of the day, it's also like a math equation too, because it's like, okay, we're going to get a bigger space. So we need the revenue to do that. Or, okay, we're going to do this big thing for free because we want to do it for free. And it's not hitting the criteria because it's not revenue generating, but it's bumping up on the priorities because it's our mission.
Yeah.
And then me, as the creative director, I get to make these decisions ultimately and connect with other inspiring people. And that's my goal right now, is just like hire and enlist and inspire as many people as possible to help me, because we'll just get there faster. And I didn't know that, excuse me, I didn't know that like I was going to wake up the day after announcing any of this and have 1,000 people say, how can I get involved? When's your next volunteer opportunity? When's your next class? And it's like, thank God for the website, because I could just send them there and it communicates so much. But also at the same time, like it's balancing this. I am providing a lot for a lot of people and being a lot of things for a lot of people. But I've also never felt like I've been letting people down more. Right? Which is so hard because I'm such a people pleaser and I love to like make people happy. But I also can't just say yes to everyone and be everything. Like I have to stay true to the vision and the core and my mission.
It is such a privilege to be able to have this conversation with you now, and for all of us to hear you share so just vulnerably and eloquently about where you are in this process, because I think everyone who's listening can and probably shares my view that I can see you in like 10 years. Like
I see you in 10 years.
It's totally
I see you in 10
mind.
years.
And I'm just like, it's a privilege to be able to hear you in your process right now. And because we usually hear people when they're like coming up with the idea, and then we hear them when they're successful. And we're getting to hear you right now when you're like, you are in your purpose and you found this thing that's just turning you on and it's turning other people on. And you're like, oh, here's my growing pains. Like I'm feeling pulled in a lot of directions. Like we're experiencing, a need to expand, but like the timing of that is really hard. But just hearing the way that you approach it, which is what I hear from you, is that you are laser focused in on your mission. And that is your guiding light. And you check it among all of the criteria. You're constantly checking against your values.
Yes.
And that is huge.
I mean, yeah, it's like the constant. Because the world is going to change all the time. And also like our energy level changes. I know personally, like I get into these like really wild energetic bursts, and then I want to like keep going, and I feel the eyes on me and I want to keep performing. But like burnout is a very real thing, even when you're working on things that you're passionate about and you love, especially when you're like kind of low key hiding the fact that you have a day job. Like, but I think that is probably, if you're talking about like the just getting started to appearing successful trajectory, it's like eventually you have to give into taking care of yourself and not just like neglecting all of the things, because like obviously Unboredroom comes from my core desire to connect with other people, but also to be valued for who I am and for all of my eccentricities and all of my deficits. And like, I'm definitely not a perfect person. And at the same time, I feel the need to be this thing.
Leader, yeah.
But then I'm like, wait, if I'm going to be a true leader, I like have to walk my talk and like actually take care of myself, or else I won't get any of this done.
And that comes with that idea of you wanting to leave a legacy and be in this for the long run, right? Like this is not a sprint. Right. This is a marathon. and your work having such a focus on the whole person, right? Those 5 elements that you said. And it sounds like you are aware that you need to keep those nurtured in yourself as much as you do so for others.
Absolutely. It's been interesting, like thinking back on this year, seeing everybody's highlight reels and thinking about all the things that were accomplished. And I know that, well, one, Unboredroom is my personal art project. Like this started as an art piece. I got funding from the Cultural Arts Division here in Austin. And they said, what do you want to make? What do you want to do? And I said, I want to do this. I want to do this inclusion programming. I mean, I could have released another album or done like a myriad of other things. But so one, this being my artistic expression helps nourish me a lot.
Okay.
But also making space to like make marks and like explore new mediums and try, like, I didn't know that Unboredroom would happen in the same year when I would also start really like pursuing my visual art. It's funny because I literally had so many fails like 2 years ago too. I was like, oh, maybe I'll audition for like different theater groups, or like right before I moved in here, I got ghosted by one of the biggest groups in town. Like I had a bunch of callbacks and everything. And then it just like, and I was literally just at a point in my life where I was tired of watching TV. I was tired of going to happy hour. I didn't think I would get there because you work so hard to like experience boredom.
And then you get it and you're like empty.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, like I really do need to keep finding new things to engage me as I get older so I don't lose my edge.
Self-enrichment. I've been seeing those posts about people doing enrichment for their dogs and their cats, like getting like toilet paper rolls and filling them with kibble and like putting the ends and then like throwing it to the animal, or all these cool ways that we can do enrichment for our pets. And what you're saying is like we need to enrich ourselves. And so again, if we come back to what we were talking about before about if you are stuck in a loop of boredom, of just feeling unenriched and feeling like life has lost its luster,
Right.
how can you enrich your
What's
life?
the point?
Make a mark. Do
Make a
something
mark.
stupid. Do something that's, doesn't make you money, that and then who knows where it can lead. That's the thing that
God forbid you find joy.
God forbid.
God forbid you're like,
God forbid
oh my
something makes you
God.
smile and yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild that we see that in animals, and we know that we're animals and it makes so much sense. But then when it comes to us, it seems frivolous or pointless. Like, because you do an activity once and it's over and then you have to do it again. It's like you wake up in the morning, or you brush your teeth at night and you wake up in the morning with bad breath. We never stop
Again and
taking care of
again.
ourselves.
Yeah. And we do actually seek enrichment. We seek it through alcohol or shopping or the Netflix or whatever. It's just we're seeking it.
Bowling.
Or what?
Bowling. Chess.
Bowling.
People used to do things.
Yeah, exactly. That used to be what we do. And so if the enrichment that you're providing yourself is such that you're finding yourself feeling empty or melancholy or unenriched, then it's like, okay, I need to fix my enrichment plan.
And a plan is the way we do it.
Okay.
It literally,
On Thursdays we do.
No, you plan it,
Yes.
and then you evaluate it. You assess. We call it the API process.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, you like assess and you execute your plan and you evaluate the outcomes and then you make adjustments. But I think something core that is really interesting in relation to my career and my education too is that I graduated as the pandemic hit. And then what did we all do when we were locked inside of our houses?
Baking.
Yeah. Like all the stuff that everyone had just written off as like old world,
Boring, yeah.
boring. Well, why would you do any of that when the whole world is out there
You
to
can
do
go get the
things?
bread at the store.
And then suddenly I didn't have to explain the value of my career, my profession anymore. It just made sense because everybody lost their minds not being enriched, not being stimulated, not having anything to engage them. And you realize that it is just a recipe for disaster when you leave people to waste, when you leave them unstimulated or understimulated for too long. What are the outcomes of that? The mental health challenges were so severe. the recreation activities that we did through COVID was a way of overcoming the isolation and the uncertainty, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the medicine that we all took for COVID. And so for me, it was like, well, this sucks. Now I have to do a lot of virtual therapy, and a lot of my clients like got sick and some of them died. And it was like it was very hard for me, just as it was hard for millions of other people. But at the same time, it was this moment of clarity and recognition in the world where it's like, oh, that's a real type of therapy.
Makes me think of the Rat City study where
Yes.
there's that famous story about how people, there was a study done, I don't know in what year. The first study was like, oh, we're going to put rats in a cage, and one of their water things has cocaine water and the other one has regular water. Let's see what they do. And 9.9 times out of 10 or 10 out of 10 times, they chose the Coke water. And then 30 years later in the 80s, another guy came along and was like, well, yeah, there's literally nothing to do in that cage.
Besides the Coke water.
Besides the Coke water. And so he created what he called Rat City. And so he created this whole playland for rats with like the wheels and like little cubbies to go in and food and like fun colors and things. And then he put the Coke water in the regular water, and they did not choose the Coke water anymore.
They just left it.
They just left it because they were so intellectually, emotionally, physically, all the
just
five
had
domains
a
stimulated.
fulfilling life.
And they didn't even want the Coke water.
You
And
just
what
need
an
a fulfilling
interesting thing.
life.
Yeah. And we have to create that for ourselves, is what you're saying.
And for each other.
And for each other. Oh, wow. Wow.
It's exciting, right?
It is.
Yeah, it gets me really pumped.
That's
Because
amazing.
it's just the medicine that nobody knew that we needed until we needed it. Now I'm here, and I'm just so blessed to have the intersection of my education and my experience and my interests. And of course, one of my interests is like helping people and helping the world. Like everything's, uncertain times. We've just been saying that for a half decade now. But I'm certainly here for a good time, and I'm certain that I want to include other people. And I'm certain that how we treat each other and how we interact matters. And I'm certain that I want to be one of the many people who are seen, still trying. There's like a lot of darkness and a lot of pessimism, a lot of doubt. And I think it's really important to not be blindly optimistic, but like, don't give up and let other people see you not give up.
And that creates that ripple effect of people trying, people connecting, people unifying, people playing. You said you're here for a good time. Yeah, let's be here for that.
Mhm.
This is just such an inspiration. And so earlier you said that you in the beginning it was you got all this interest, but you still need volunteers. So if people
Oh,
want to get
100%.
involved with Unboredroom,
Yes.
what do they do? Whether they live in Austin or maybe they want to help or donate something from afar.
Yes, we need all the people. Like, we need all the resources, whether you want to donate energetically or intellectually, like you're a lawyer or an accountant, or we need help on every front, because nobody starts a disability arts organization because they are good at math or administrative duties. Like, that's not why I got into this. Not that that's all we need help with, because we need help with everything. If you are interested in supporting Unboredroom, please visit our website, unboredroom.org, and go check out our Get Involved tab. Send me an email, because one of the things that I really believe is an important building block of Unboredroom is adaptive leadership opportunities. What does that mean, right? So I had someone come in with their grandmother a month back, and they used to be an art therapist. They don't have the resources, they don't have the energy, they don't have the facilities to continue to benefit the community with those skills. Waste. What a waste.
Rachel sees waste.
I
How
see-
can we remedy this?
It's such a waste. Okay, so what can I do to support this vibrant, giving person with so much still left to give? They're just past their deemed like usable era.
Or they're not wanting to lead anymore, and they're wanting to support. Yeah.
And so what can we do? It's like, okay, do you want us to write the curriculum for you and then you teach it? Or do you have curriculum and you want us to teach it? Or do you have everything and you just need me to go find people and bring them into the classroom? Do you need me to go pick up the supplies? That's what I'm talking about. That's adaptive leadership, because people only have to give what they have to give. We're all working extremely hard, and we've all got, aging and disabilities and a myriad of other demands on us. And so if I can provide those accommodations in the same way that I think about disability accommodations or adaptations of recreation activities, and I just use that ideology to adapt leadership roles or community participation, where does that leave us?
Yeah.
With more.
Yeah. And nurturing those individuals, and then
Yes.
those individuals nurture a whole other host of other people, but maybe they just need that thing. And that's where you have this special gift of, and it's inspiring me to bring that gift to other people of looking at where somebody needs that one thing to get them to the next level. And that's really, really inspiring, because we're like, oh, that person can't do that. But actually, like, maybe they just need that one thing. Maybe it's just encouragement. Maybe it's just like someone to like body double with them,
Yeah.
right? And like just be there while they do their thing. And what an amazing feeling to be able to do that for someone. And you talk about legacy, and we want to be able to make the world a better place, but to be in service and to someone and help them shine their light brighter. Woo! If that ain't legacy, I don't know what is. And you do such a beautiful job of that.
Thank you. I mean, that's the thing, is that like I can only do so much. Like I'm literally testing the limits of it, of like how much can I do for how long. And so it's within my value system to connect with other people and to lift each other up. And it just hits every time.
Yeah. And please don't forget that what you're doing is obviously just profound to say the least, but also just like being on this show now and sharing you have very unique and inspiring views on these topics, and you're very intelligent about it. So just even being here and helping us understand like what your perspectives are and inspiring us to nurture and lift up other people in this way, that's also, I think, part of your legacy as well. Like just that the way that your mind works is really powerful, and it's certainly inspiring me to meet people where they are, to do little things to lift people up, and to have fun and be on board with bright yellow and colorful colors everywhere.
Hey, if they can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. Rachel, thank you so much. So if people want to volunteer, they're going to go to unboredroom.org.
Mm-hmm.
Where else can we find you online to keep up with all the amazing things you're doing?
Instagram is probably our most prolific social media platform. So that's where all the good is. You can see all the videos and things. But yes, go check out the website. We are on Facebook too. But I just encourage you to reach out to me direct. There's lots of ways to get involved on the website. Like if you just want to purchase some art, we have like really cool products that we make from the artist's work, and that money goes to benefit the nonprofit and the artists as well. But there are just like 1,001 ways that we need support and encouragement, and mostly just participation. Even just like a like on Instagram. I think that people don't consider like, okay, we have over 850 likes now. We just started the Instagram like 6 months ago. But each one of those people is a real person. Like we've never gone viral. So every time you send something to someone and say, hey, you should follow us, or hey, you might be interested in this event, like it really does help. Like that's a place where people make a lot more impact than I think they realize, like the little comments and the likes, and just like tricking the algorithm into thinking that we're selling Coca-Cola instead of inclusion,
Let's bring in our little friend here to make one more ask for people to please follow Unboredroom on Instagram. Go to unboredroom.org. There are many sparkly things, including this human herself. Thank you, Rachel Cohen, for joining us today.
Thank you, Kate.
Thanks for being
You're
sparkly
wonderful.
and colorful.
Let's chat again. I feel like there's a lot to share with people about how to make life worth living today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day to be alive and add a little bit more enrichment and sparkle into our lives. So thank you for listening. And thank you again to Rachel for coming and sharing your magic. And do we have a name for this character here?
I don't know. It looks like my dog Bambi, but
Bambi.
This is Disco Bambi.
Disco Bambi. Woo! Oh my gosh, amazing. Well, thank you, Disco Bambi.
Thank you. Go start your thing. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you for listening to this episode of Be Alive with Kate Manser. And thank you for listening to any episode of Be Alive with Kate Manser that you have ever listened to. It seriously means so much to me. You guys, we are coming up on 1 year of this show. What? Yes, and I am not going anywhere. In fact, I am doubling down. I have the most epic and beautiful, exciting season 2, year 2 planned for you. We are going to go even more deeply into the science, philosophy, psychology, and woo-woo of the wild and wonderful experience of being alive, as well as one of my personal favorites, as you know, mortality awareness, mystical experience, and beyond. It's going to be so, so good. Thanks for being here. Share this with a friend, subscribe, and let's let this little show shine its light wherever it's meant to, but with the help of your sharing. Thank you so much. All my love. Thanks for being alive with me today.